All right, so in this module, we're going to talk about training optimism. And if we know anything about optimism, optimism is trainable. It's actually something that you can train yourself to do more of if you understand how to do it. Now, optimism is the opposite of pessimism, right? And optimism is when you look at a glass, you see it as half full rather than as half empty. And how do we train this to become more optimistic in our life? And how is this going to impact our performance and our results? So let's take a look at it. Let's dive right in. So go ahead and open up your workbook to this module about training optimism, your last module, module 6, and let's get right into it. So there are 3 Ps that Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, he came up with 3 Ps of what pessimistic people do and optimistic people do. And he researched all these different people and he found out that there was a theme behind optimism. So the first P is permanence. How permanent someone thinks that an event is in their life. The next is pervasiveness. Pervasiveness is how this impacts not just one area of life or all areas of life. And the third is personalization. Personalization is how personal they think that were they the cause of this or was it just luck? So let's take a look at the first one, permanence. When something good happens in your life, sometimes negative mindset is this won't last. So if you're a pessimistic person, you're thinking to yourself, this is not permanent. This good thing that's happening right now is not going to last. An optimistic person with a positive mindset is thinking this can last and will last. This has an opportunity to last long periods of time. So if you're playing well, not thinking, oh, this is just a fluke, but rather training yourself to think, you know what? If I learn the proper skills, I can make this happen over and over again. It's more permanent. Let's look at when a bad event happens. So when something bad occurs, someone who has a negative mindset would think that this is my normal, right? It's going to last forever. So if something bad happens, oh, get used to it because this is your normal. Versus a positive mindset, something that's more optimistic is, you know what? This is just temporary. This is something that I'm going to eventually get over. This too shall pass. So if I'm playing in a slump and I'm struggling right now, it's not permanent. It's just temporary. Or even with this situation that we're going through with coronavirus, if you're thinking about how to navigate this time, you're saying to yourself, you know what? This too shall pass. As scary as it is, and as anxiety provoking and nervous I get when I think about it, this too shall pass. That's more of an optimistic mindset, training optimism. Let's take a look at the second P, which is pervasiveness. With pervasiveness, when something good happens in your life, someone who's more pessimistic will think, this does not apply to me, or this doesn't apply to other areas of my life. It's just, this happened, this good thing happened just because of this one instant. For the optimistic mindset, for someone who's more optimistic, they're saying this applies to many areas of my life. It's very much influencing all areas of my life. This pervasiveness of this goodness that I'm feeling, it's going to impact many other areas, and I'm going to feel good about those areas as well in my life. When something bad happens, or so a pessimist and negative mindset might think about this bad event as this applies to all areas of my life. Again, going back to the permanence, this is my normal. Pervasiveness is this bad thing that happened in this one isolated event applies to all areas, and it's going to impact all areas of my life. The positive mindset and the optimistic person, they're thinking about this pervasiveness as this is just one area of my life that it's not as great as it could be. So if you're thinking about let's say you're having trouble with your driver and you're not able to control it and you're not feeling that confident around driving the ball, instead of saying that you suck at golf and that it's impacting all areas of your game, you're just isolating it to that one area and just saying, you know what? I'm great at putting. I'm great at chipping. I'm great at striking the ball. I'm just struggling right now with getting off the tee. And that's okay. I'm going to get through this. It's not pervasive. That's what pervasiveness means. Now let's look at when something good happens and the third P of personalization. So the third P, when something good happens, someone who's more of a pessimist, they're thinking that if something good happens, this happened because I got lucky. It was just a fluke. It shouldn't happen again because it was just, it was luck. I had nothing to do with it. When an optimist looks at this, when something good happens, they're viewing it as because of my hard work, my effort, my patience that I put in, things that I have done, and I'm responsible for making this good thing happen, and I can do it again. Now, when something bad happens, negative mindset, when something negative occurs, a pessimist would probably think this is all my fault. I caused this. When something bad happens to an optimist, someone who has more of a positive mindset, they're telling themselves there are many uncontrollable factors at play here, and this is not entirely my fault. So that's how an optimist would think about a negative outcome. Okay? So we covered personalization, we covered pervasiveness, and we covered permanence. Now the 3 Ps, go ahead and fill it in your workbook, write those down, and let's start to journal around how we personalize certain things. Do you fall more towards the negative mindset or more towards the positive mindset in any of these 3 areas?